Hi, Amanda here. Welcome to this reading, whenever it may find you, to anyone who is resonating with Pisces energy at this time. So, my friends, there's an interesting image that's coming as I'm staring at the Pisces symbol. This has been happening sometimes lately. So I drew this, I sat down for meditation with my page, and I drew your symbol at the top, and immediately it came to life, and I just saw the two sides of the Pisces symbol coming together. It's almost like the line in between was drawing them together, and I saw them as like eyeballs coming together like this, about to touch. And there was this really interesting sense of like peering into another world. It was very through the looking glass, like in the sense of Alice looking into a mirror and seeing another world, like that mirror becoming this portal to another world that she then falls into and goes on an adventure. But that's what this felt like. It felt like there's this sort of pull between two bodies or between two eyeballs that you're like, you feel like you're peering into somebody else's world, or that you're peering into some other place in space-time. It's like you're drawn in, and then I immediately felt this refraction energy, when it's almost as if like you're going closer, and then boom, you bump into the mirror itself, like the glass of the physical object in your reality, and like your eyeball bumps up against the mirror itself, and then there's this like refraction. So there's this like pull to come together of the two eyeballs. Hope you're with me, because I hope this is going somewhere. We're gonna find out. The two eyeballs coming together, and then it's like when they touch, or when you touch the mirror that it actually is, there's like a quick refraction, or like a backup. So I was just doing, sometimes this happens and then I get like a phrase and I can just start Googling, and I'll get these like things that feel important. So one of the things, when I just typed in through the looking glass, one of the phrases that came through was, just like a reflection, everything is reversed. So looking in the mirror, something about this eyeball, everything is reversed. And there's something about like looking into the mirror and seeing a world beyond it, like seeing a world beyond that reflection. And then somehow in my Googling, I ended up at this artist's work. Their name is Casilda Sanchez. And they did this exhibit, it's called As Inside as the Eye Can See, in 2009. I'm gonna play just like a quick clip from a section that they just have up on their website. You should go to the website, casildasanchez.net. I'm going to put it up here for you. But what this artist was capturing on film is exactly what I saw, or at least the energy of it, which is just like these eyes being drawn slowly together, and this sort of interaction of deep visioning. And there's something about the closeness that is really intense, and the draw that's really intense, but there's also a sense of like seeing way beyond through that closeness. And then, here we are gonna, we're seeing the eyes close, but in what I saw was sort of a quick separation, almost like a startle. I don't know what this means. We're gonna find out. We are going to find out. So let's start. I'm using Kim Kranz. I've been using Kim Kranz a lot lately and digging it. So we're gonna keep going with that. I'm gonna use the archetypes. And I'm going to revisit a format that many of you are familiar with, and I'm going to look at the shapeshift that you may be experiencing at this time. We're going to use the archetypes to do that, looking at the shape you're shifting out of and the shape you're shifting into. These shape shifts could talk about something, you know, very immediate that you're experiencing. It could also be talking about a larger shift that you might be moving through. So let's see about it. Pisces. I'm just going to spread it. Interesting too that we've got these, like, you know, the eyeballs coming together. I'm just kind of moving them all around, and I'm going to choose two. First, we're looking at the shape that Pisces is shifting out of. Okay, wow. And the shape that Pisces is shifting into. It's one of these two, and yeah, it's this one. Okay, funny. These two also wanted to come out, so I'll take them. Look at this. Actually, I think it's just this one that matters. Talk about mirrors and these, like, mirrors coming together, reflecting and refracting. Okay, we're gonna get into this a little bit and see what it's all about. So I'm starting to wonder here, Pisces, if this isn't about encountering some sort of reality, because the card I chose, and it felt very adamant in, like, energetically when I saw it and touched it, it was like, ooh, it's definitely this one. And I'm surprised to find the shape you're shifting out of. Oh, there's eyes on this. Oh my God. The shape you're shifting out of here is coming through as the Mystic. But check out the eyeballs. Dang it. Ugh. The magic of the cards just astounds me always. Okay, so you're shifting out of the Mystic into the Mountain. So there's something here about coming down to earth or encountering earth from the realm of the Mystic. This more like, again, I really felt like you were almost peering into the mirror, but it was as if you were able to astral travel or sort of get a glimpse, you know, like that three-eyed raven that can sort of see, you know, that metaphor and that imagery of, like, being able to sort of transport your vision to see something that's happening somewhere else, which is, okay, interesting. As I said that, this candle that I had lit for you just went out. I don't know if you can see it smoking. It just went out. So there's something about that energy needing it needs to close. And there's something, that way of seeing, maybe, because it was like you were closer and drawn in and drawn in and drawn in, and then it, boom, it's like you encountered earth. You encountered the physical reality. So it's actually maybe like a reality shift, or a shift in the focus of your experience of reality. So let's say your experience of reality is much more in the realm of the Mystic. It's much more in that realm of seeing beyond what you can tangibly see and feel and touch with your human senses. You're always sort of in this landscape. There's something about the Mountain that seems to be demanding that you see what is right in front of you, and maybe even obviously right in front of you, because again, you're looking into this mirror, and then bam, you slam right into it. And this shift is happening via the archetype of the shadow, which is, of course, talking about the play of light. Again, reflection and refraction. The light shifts, you know, it's as if I could hold this like little diamond shaped mirror up and go like this and sort of play with the reflection of the light, and it would change the light as it hits the wall. And I'm also just noticing like the light just happens to be coming in and showing us the window as the sun is setting right now. So there's all this happening. There's all of this happening. But, you know, where one door is asking to close at this time, another is opening here in the earth plane, because again, it's like when you hit that human experience of reality, which is that it's physically a mirror right in front of you, or maybe physically some other person that you're coming in contact with. You're coming in contact with something that's sort of like a reality check, or like a different lens on reality that wakes you up to a different experience. I'm just gonna consult Kim Krantz Archetype Guidebook really quickly to see if there's anything in particular that she's written that would help us with this. Let's look at the mystic first. Okay, the seeker, the dreamer. Gosh, it may seem that the mystic is inward facing, yet its light beams back to the world with the strength of 1,000 stars. So again, something about light, like beaming and directing in different ways. Yeah, so a mystic is often misunderstood or depicted in our culture as a wandering or light-hearted daydreamer. The true mystic plays a critical role in society, remaining fearlessly dedicated to the path of transformation. This is the work of the mystic. They do not fear darkness, but rather sit in the presence of it. Because this is how you are making this shapeshift from mystic to mountain. Nice alliteration. From mystic to mountain through shadow, through dark and light. The play of dark and light and the understanding of that mirror. They do not fear darkness, but rather they sit in the presence of it, harness the potential and latent energy behind it, and embed it with light. They are patient and prudent change makers, seeking growth above all else. Unanswerable questions are the mystic's lifeblood. The mystic revels in mystery, in the great riddle of life, dancing with the forces of light and dark upon its wings. Let's look into the mountain. Okay. The ascent, the peak, the insurmountable. Okay. The mountain stands eternally in our awareness, calling us towards its peak. It stirs up stoic and regal feelings, reminding us of the long line of spirits, sages, gods that made their humble thrones within its snowy peaks. Beware, though, as the mountain can affect us in two ways. It can inspire and enliven us to rise to new heights and peak experience, yet it can also create isolation, competitiveness, an inflated sense of self. This is nice, though. No matter how high you ascend, remember that it is within the core of the mountain that the gems, minerals, and jewels reside. If you think it's all about going up, you're following the fool's path and missing the miner's magic. Grounded in the eternal, steadfast, uplifting. All right, let's just one more take a look at the shadow here. The shadow in the position of what this shapeshift from mystic to mountain looks and feels like. The unspeakable, the unwelcome, the denied. In the shadow of the gods are the very gods themselves. Reflect on this statement by James Hillman in A Blue Fire. And then Kim asks, what do you despise about yourself? By answering, you move toward shadow. Although every card in the archetypes deck has a shadow potential, this card asks us to delve into the qualities of the shadow itself. We often think that the shadow can be purified in some way, illuminated, or made right through effort, achievement. However, it is typically the case that our lofty pursuit of ascension or perfection is the very source of the shadow material itself. By rejecting parts of ourselves and the world, we begin to separate from the whole. Rather than getting to know the qualities and content of our shadow, we busy ourselves with avoiding its presence. This is denial. When this card appears, it is time to take inventory of those things you've been denying. When the mind responds with no, anything but that, you are touching shadow. Find support for this deep inner work and move toward the shadow with patience and compassion. Revealing unconscious aspects of the self and the world. So there's something coming through already, Pisces, basically about like, here you are in this land of the mystic and mysticism, and perhaps there's something about the earth and the tangible reality, your human experience, that's calling you now. And in order to make that transition, to pass through into this more realm of human experience and to face something perhaps really big about that, because mountains always feel to me like something really big, a huge, again, like steadfast, lasting presence. There's like a shift in light, a shift in the way of seeing that needs to happen, a shift in the way you see. Let's stay with Kim Kranz and get into this. Let's get some clarity for the mystic, for Pisces, the shape that Pisces is shifting out of at this time, whenever this reading finds you. The shape Pisces is shifting out of is the mystic. Help us understand this. It's a lot. Okay, I think we're sort of getting the entire thing here. Okay, so 4 cards just came out. The Empress. It's basically showing us the shapeshift now in more detail. So from how I'm seeing this is the shift is from the Empress to the Magician. So you are shape-shifting from Empress energy as it's depicted in this deck, which actually feels very mystic to me, with the moon that's there talking about intuition, and there's something about almost like the tree looks to me like something you would see in a dream image, like a vision. It almost looks like the burning bush, if you know that image from the Bible. And then shifting into the Magician, which very much deals, for me, it deals with tangible reality, deals with like, okay, how do we take these visions and move them into form? And maybe that's really what this reading is talking about, is like helping you to see in a different way what is preventing you from turning the mystic visions that you experience and that you have into physical, tangible reality that you can enjoy as your human self, as part of your everyday world. And then, as if to clarify the shadow here, we have the King of Wands and the King of Swords, right? Yeah. And they seem really contentious to me. It's almost like the two sides of the mirror that are coming together and unexpectedly encountering one another in a way that might be a little jarring. You know, it's like, again, the mystic in you, Pisces, is drawn in to this experience, you know, almost like you as the Father of Wands here, or the King of Fire. just like really generating from that more spiritual space. You know, the cobra, like wanting to, it's almost like, you know how cobras can be hypnotized and they go into this sort of trance. That's how I'm seeing you, as almost in this trance with the eye, like fixated and transfixed in this very sort of hypnotic, unconscious dream world mystic space. And then it's almost like you bump right into the actual glass, which is coming through as the King of Swords. So this energy in you that is like spiritually, mystically transfixed bumps into the truth, you know, like, or a different version of truth, a more tangible version of truth, like bumps right into it. And the owl looks very frank to me, like holding this sword of truth. It's almost like a stark reality. Holding the stark reality, eyes wide open, again, an emphasis on the eyes here. Eyes wide open, just being like, actually, this is what it is. Or like, wake up from this dream. You know, you're being drawn in and all of a sudden, oh, whoa, that was a mirror this whole time. I thought I was peering into another life, another vision, and turns out I just smacked my head on a mirror. Okay, there's a shadow aspect here, something that I wasn't seeing before. And it's tense. It's tense between these two energies when that mystic meets the mountain, so to speak. But in that tense, you know, reflection and refraction moment, it's like I see it as a moment of I'm not sure what I want to say. I guess just refraction. I wish I knew more science, frankly, or like physics. But it's almost like there's this sort of magnetic pull which draws two things together, and then when they actually touch, it's when they meet, that energy that has been loaded finally touches, and it's enough force to like ping you the other way. And so it's almost like just this like jolt, and there is a lightning bolt here in the background of the King of Wands. So it's sort of, and here we see a sharp blade. So whatever it is, it's like a jolt, it's sharp. And there's this sort of awakening in the way that you have been seeing that I think is shifting your vision towards things that are more tangible. It's sort of like awakening you to the objects that are actually around you when you, in this sort of visioning hypnosis moment, you slam into an actual object. It's sort of like, oh, okay, part of what I have been denying maybe is actual objects. Wonder if that is anything specific. That feels very specific, but possibly for someone. Like maybe, you know, like think artistically, like think in terms of your art, like what about physical objects? Have you been trying very hard to like vision and see and like go beyond and transcend, maybe even, because now I'm looking at this as like a butterfly, like wanting to transcend or transform out of your human experience. And maybe this reading is directing you towards the very thing you're wanting to transcend or wanting to deny. Like the very thing you don't want to be is the thing that holds magic for you at this time, is the very thing you are meant to shapeshift into. Okay, that feels very like scary to admit. Interestingly, there's something about that feels scary to admit that, which again would feel like the realm of shadow where shame, you know, this is where the things that we hold shame around tend to go. It's like they get sucked into that blind spot, that space that we don't have to look at very often. But there's something here where you're encountering that very starkly in like an intense moment of surprise, and maybe even like wake up call type energy, or like reality check energy, that is sort of, it's like revulsion, you know, like that's the refraction energy that I'm seeing, like, whoa, oh, and then it's sort of like, oh wait, hold on, oh, okay, I see what happened there. That was a mirror I was looking into, and I just encountered it very, very abruptly and like physically felt. Because it's almost like one thing that that artist that I was sharing with you, that piece, As Inside as the Eye Can See by Casilda Sanchez, one thing that they write about that, I'll just read it. Two eyes yearn to see each other as close as they can, enter each other's space, and reach intimacy through looking, which turns to be a futile effort. Without distance, we can't see. So close, but unable to see more than a blurred image. So again, there's this idea of like striving. The mystic seems to me to be putting out a lot of effort, or like striving to see in a very particular way, and then bumps into reality in a way that backs you up. And then you go, oh, okay, I see. I wasn't acknowledging the things that are more tangibly felt, that are factoring in an important way. All right, let's see if we can dive a little deeper here. I want to use some picture cards and see what else we can see. Help us understand the mystic as the shape Pisces is shifting out of. Yeah, seriously, look. So again, light bulb moment. Light, energy of light, and the way that light plays with shadow, and how the light and the dark paint this particular picture. And notice how that picture can change. I mean, the sun is now behind the mountains and it's no longer with us. It changes so easily, and it's very shifty in its nature, but it like illuminates only certain things as part of what I'm getting here. And there's like another way of illumination that has much more to do with what your five senses can access, or what your human experiences can access, rather than like constantly wanting to be in the realm of the soul. Can sometimes be this sort of way of bypassing the body. So somehow this way of seeing is tying you up in knots, or it's tangled. It's binding, it's limiting in some way. It's interesting though, because here's what I'm getting. Go with me. So while it's binding, it's got you sort of bound in this particular way, I'm not sure you even really realize it. Like the folks that are resonating with this, you might not even realize it, because see the way these frayed parts of the rope almost look like what happens when you touch static electricity and your hair starts to float up. That's how I'm seeing this. It's like you're so in that like mystical electric experience, okay? You're so in the electrical experience of it and like the magic of that you're not realizing that the ropes are actually around you and they're limiting your perceptions and your movements. You know, like your perception might be enhanced because here the Empress, you know, what's lit up here in this particular Empress is to me like the parts that are most outer reaching. Like I almost see this as you sort of meditating and like sending your energy out into the cosmos, or trying to reach something at the fringes of your experience. And the magician is like, hey, there's a lot of magic right here at your fingertips experience as well. You know, like, yes, it's really cool to try, you know, and can be amazing to try to access clairvoyancy or like other ways of seeing. Obviously, I've experienced that because here we are, okay? But also, like, what about the magic that's in making bread? You know, I'm just speaking from my own life. Like, what about the magic that's in, you know, like the things that you can experience physically every single day that you might otherwise overlook, or like the things that you already have? There's an energy here of like seeking so much to experience something that transcends reality that you're like missing. Reality that's right at your fingertips. Let's look into that. What is the magician? What is here? And there is honestly, I just saw this other card flipped up and is over here. There's like, there is this lavender. I see you in this card, like laying in lavender fields, just sort of like smelling the lavender and like wanting to, again, like wanting to sleep, wanting to go into an altered state. That's kind of funny. That's not lavender, but that's, I don't think so, but that's how I'm seeing it. And notice how the perspective is from one who is not moving, like one who is lying down and sort of looking up at the far beyond. And this is sort of saying like, hey, it's right underneath of you, or it's right where you are, actually. It's funny that I said right underneath of you, because now we've got roots coming out to clarify the magician. You know, it's like a plant who wants to grow up. Oh, that's interesting, because this was sort of what Kim Krans said in the mountains, in the mountain archetype, that the person who looks at the mountain and thinks it's only for us, the ascent, is missing the core, where all of like the gems are and all of the things to be, you know, it's like taking the climber's route instead of the miner, and like wanting to go deeper and go into the interior. Honestly, I think what I'm getting here, Pisces, is just this like idea of spirituality as being out there. And the reading is saying, yeah, but it's also in here. It's also, you know, in that sensation that I just got from snapping my hairband. It's also in lighting a candle and smelling the smoke as it goes out. You know, it's also here in this tangible, you know, like this whatever lemon water I'm drinking out of a kimchi jar. Like, it's right here in your experience. So you think that it's about the vantage, the focus pointing upward. Perhaps the focus is actually directing you the other way. Again, something here about opposites. The card that just came out is a jar with, or some sort of bottle with the lid taken off. Yeah, I think this is definitely something that could be like an opening. Okay, nice. I love when this card comes out. I'm just seeing it as like this metal that is supposedly fixed in place that just wants to uncurl. Rooting and grounding in the earth, in what can grow down and underneath and below the surface and in the soil where you are actually planted and rooted. could actually pop a cap off of something for you, you know, which speaks to me of like an inspiration or a new understanding coming forward, which can then set things in motion that have been previously fixed. You know, the bolt, like bolted in place, suddenly get to unfurl. And what wouldn't otherwise move, like this like cast iron or whatever this is, I see it as actually unfurling. You know, the knot beginning to untie for you. You know, this whole reading could also be talking about like when we're in a place where we're just really needing to see what's true and we're really wanting answers in some way. To me, this is a Mercury retrograde reading, so I'm wondering if you're finding this in a retrograde. I'm reading this in a retrograde, a pretty potent one from how I've experienced it. Wanting so badly to find answers and like seeking, like asking for guidance and asking to be shown and all of this stuff. And it's almost like, you know, it's almost like it's right here. It's right here in the physical reality. Answers can also be found right here. Like it could be as simple as just screwing the cap off of a bottle. Whereas the more you sort of like seek that outside, some sort of experience or energy outside of you that's going to help you solve something, it just keeps winding the knot or pulling the, you know, it's like trying to untie a knot by just like pulling random pieces of the rope. It's just actually going to tighten it and tighten it and tighten it. Okay, Pisces. How are we closing this? We're closing this with the Poesis Oracle. Yeah. Transformation. And you know, like I'm getting a little bit of sadness maybe from some of y'all who are like, but I like to vision, you know, I like witchcraft. Like I like scrying, I like meditating and feeling myself travel to other energies and other experiences. Like that's cool. I'm not saying this reading isn't trying to break your heart. I think this reading is offering you, interesting that escape is right underneath. I think this reading is encouraging you to really look at the ways that turning to the mystic energy immediately is actually more of an escape. When sometimes reality is what's called for, you know, again, going into this sort of hypnotic thing, and then Saturn just smacks you right in the face and goes, yeah, because you weren't looking at what's actually here around you. You know, it's like spirituality can be something that enhances your human experience. It doesn't have to be something that takes you out of your human experience. Test. The burning ring of fire. Anything else for Pisces? Maybe a word. There's too many. A word from the Magician here. Open your mind. Whoa. Yeah, whatever this is really big. I really do feel like this is about the way you get answers, or like the way you seek guidance is changing, transforming. And again, what ties you up in knots is an idea of spirituality, or an idea of what seeking should feel like. Maybe it's even this idea that there is soul and there is body. You know, Pisces is we are one. And so maybe part of what this is saying is the mystic and the mountain are actually one and the same. Which is a little creepy, because if we turn them to mirror images, what did I read in the beginning? Just like a reflection, everything is reversed. If we take these as reflections of each other, holy creepy fest. Just like a mirror, everything is reversed. So if you think this reading is asking you to leave your mysticism behind and face reality, Saturn is definitely talking to you here, I think. I think what Saturn is actually saying is that these two things are not separate. And the integration of them and the resistances to integrating them are where the juice of this shapeshift is for you. That's this right here. The spot that's hardest to see. How you can be both King of Wands and King of Swords. You know, interesting. Soul and mind. And it's like, it's not either or, it's both, and then that's the opening. And to me, test is just coming through as like Saturn energy. It's just something difficult to pass through. Like this is a difficult phase or shift to make. And again, this might not be something that happens in a month's time. This might be something that Saturn square Uranus has been working on all year and will continue to work on with you. Yeah, I think that's true. 1414 on the clock. But it's almost like this ring of fire experience is this experience right at the center, the part that's hardest to see, that you must pass through to transform the way you see. Okay, wow, what a gorgeous reading. Pisces, thank you so much for joining me here. If this was resonant and helpful for you, you know, these readings are general because they're collective. If you would like to get personal and actually see how this is playing out in your experience and in your specific circumstances, get in touch with me. We can book a personal reading and follow the clues in the cards together. You can do that at unseenhandstarot.com/readings. So please do check the links in the description, and I'd love to connect with you there. All right, Pisces, take care.